Welcome to video 18, dividing by 10, 100 and 1,000.
As you know, Magic Merv likes to make numbers 10 times bigger and 10 times smaller. So, Merv, do your magic. Turn 240 10 times smaller. Ta-da! But unfortunately for Merv, he's not magic. So, Merv, you're going to have to go and sit over there and wait patiently, if you can. And I'm going to show you why it's not magic. It actually makes a lot more sense. So, we're going to start off by talking about making a number 10 times smaller. We're dividing it by 10. And I'm sure you'll remember when we talked about timesing a number by 10, all we did was move the number up the place value position. We're going to do the same by dividing by 10, but instead of making the number bigger, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to make the number smaller. So let's start off by writing our place value. So I'm going to start off with tens of thousands, thousands, hundreds, tens, units. Our decimal point to show that anything past this point is smaller than 1 unit. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths and tens of thousandths. So Merv had the number 2,940 and I asked him to make the number 10 times smaller or divide by 10. So we're going to move down the place value position 1 place. So the units are going to go to the tenths, the tens are going to the units, the hundreds are going to the tens, and the thousandths will go to the hundreds, giving us the number 204. Now we've put here the 0 tenths, but we don't really need to know that we've got 0 tenths because we've also got 0 hundredths, 0 thousandths, 0 tenths of thousandths, 0 hundredths of thousandths. It's like saying, I don't have chicken pox. I don't need to tell you. So we're going to get rid of this because we've just got the number 204. It didn't hurt to have the point 0 there. It just seemed a little bit pointless. So we're just going to get rid of it. Let's have another example of making a number 10 times smaller. This time we're not going to need Merv's magic because, let's face it, it's not. We're just going to move it down the place value position 1 place. So we might have the number 17.36. Get my point in the right way. And we're going to divide that by 10. We're just going to move it down the place value position 1 position. So let me put my decimal point in the same place. 6 hundredths are going to the 6 thousandths, 3 tenths are going to the 3 hundredths, 7 units are going to the 7 tenths, and the 110 is going to the 1 unit. So 17.36 divided by 10 is the same as 1.736. Okay, now I've got the number 4,502 and we're going to divide it by 100. We're going to make it 100 times smaller. So just like we did with the timesing by 100, we're going to move it 2 places. But instead of moving it up to make the number bigger, we're going to move it down the place value position to make it smaller. We're going to make it 100 times smaller and we're going to move it down 2 places. So the units are not going to go into the tenths, they're going to go into the hundredths. The tens are not going into the units, they're going into the tenths. Oh, sorry, wrong number. The hundreds are not going into the tens, they're going into the units. And the thousands are not going to the hundreds, they're going into the tens. Making sure I put my decimal place in the same place. So 4,502 divided by 100 is the same as 45.02. So here we've got the number 346.1 and this time we're going to divide it by 1,000. We're going to make it 1,000 times smaller. So we're going to again move the place value position 3 times. But we're going to move it down the place value position to make it smaller, 1,000 times smaller. So the tenths are not going in the hundreds, Hundredths, they're not going in the thousandths, they're going in the tens of thousandths. That's 1, 2, 3 places down the place value position. The units are not going in the tenths, they're not going in the hundredths, but they're going in the thousandths. 1, 2, 3 places. The hundreds are not going in the units, not going in the tens, but going, the tens, aren't going in the units, they aren't going in the tenths, they're going in the hundredths. And the hundreds are not going in the tens, not going in the units, but they're going in the tenths. Okay, we put our decimal point in the same place, but we seem to have a problem. You know, I said before that I didn't need to know if I had no tenths, no hundredths, no thousandths, no tens of thousandths. That's fine when we're looking at decimal, when the number's smaller than 1 unit. But we do need to know if we've got any units. And here you can see we've got no units. So we need to put a 0 in the units to say that we've got no units. This number is smaller than just one unit. So 346.1 divided by 1000 is the same as 0.3461. Have a go at these questions. Use your place value understanding to work them out. Remember, when we're dividing by 100, we're moving it down 2 places. When we're dividing by 10, we're moving it down 1 place. When we're dividing by 1000, we're moving it down 3 places. Pause the video, work it out. If you need to, write the place value positions on a piece of paper to help you work it out, and we'll go through the answer once you're done. Okay, let's go through the answers. 357 divided by 100. I'm going to move it down 2 spaces down the place value position. So I've written it up here for us. So units are not going in the tenths, they're going in the hundredths. Tens, not going in the units, but the tenths. And the hundreds are not going in the tens, they're going in the units. So 357 divided by 100 is the same as 3.57. So from the next one, 0.17 divided by 10. Now I think I could probably have a go at doing this mentally. I think I can easily move this down 1 place, where this bit here would be a 0, 1, 7. But let's just check out my prediction. So, moving it down 1 place, the 0 is going into the tenths, the tenths is going to the hundredths, and the hundredths is going to the thousandths. Remember, here I've got nothing. I need to say if I've got any units, so I need to put a 0 here. So my answer, I was completely right, is 0.017. So the last example, 194.8 divided by 1000. This one we're moving it down 3 places down the place value position. So 8, not in the hundredth, not in the thousandths, but in the tens of thousandths. 4 units, not in the tens, not in the hundreds, but the thousandths. Tens, not in the units, not in the tens, but the hundredths. And the hundreds, not in the 10, not in the unit, but in the tenths. Again, we have no units left over from the thousands, so we're going to have to say here we've got no units. So our answer is 0.1948. Okay, so let's put our new dividing 10, 100 and 1000 learning onto our number mind map. We were looking at division, so we're going to come here, and we were looking at dividing 10, dividing 100 and dividing 1000. And when we divided by 10, we moved it 1 place down the place value position. When we were dividing by 100, we moved it twice. And when we were dividing by 1000, we did it 3 times. Okay. Now this links. We go all the way down around here, exactly the same understanding as timesing by 10, 100 and 1000. And it also links to our place value because we needed to use our place value position understanding in order to do it.